Well, I've just been lubing the chain and give it a good clean gleaming again. And I just got a can of Morrison's lager. Should I fit them crash bars on me time off, or should I just relax and ease my aching legs and feet? That's that divider thing I got from Bean and Bargains. Nice, isn't it? Because it's Wisteria. Roses are all coming up again, despite me chopping them down last year. Below the soil level with me loppers. They're the hydrangeas I got from my mum, so I got some too. And the rhododendrons from last year. I painted all this as well on Friday with my magnolia. So I got covered out now. I put a piece of cardboard there. Still dry on that swinging arm, despite the cardboard. I run out to Mr. Sheen. Alright, baby. Little old man, aren't you? Mr. Sheen's the best thing for dissolving chain grease. Oh. Yeah, I got a new tin a while back. Spray it on the cloth rather than near the chain. I thought someone were being murdered half an hour ago. I'm in here, but screaming top of his voice. I think football's on, isn't it? No interest at all in all that cobblers. Hysterical screaming. Top of his voice. Right, as you can see, I mentioned I've sprayed with the last of the paint the footrest hanger. It's all black now, apart from the chrome bits. I think I'll put the kettle on. Water feature looking green. Yeah, I dropped all the soil on the floor when I was turning my pots round. And them ladders I made last year, I know. Loft ladders upstairs. Bit of a waste of time for down here. So I'll give it another couple of weeks before I plant anything. Maybe I should just relax all week here and rest my legs. Hey Bobby. Alright baby, come here. A little baby. Good boy, aren't you? Hmm? Little bubs. Look at camera. Big yellow eyes, eh? Yeah, lovely pussycats. Well, thanks for watching. First Friday out for quite some time. I booked a week off in May, did I mention? So I'll be doing more then. Hopefully a bit more involved and entertaining. Maybe all the flowers will be out then. Any advice? Pretty flowers. Should I stick with fuchsias? Or what do you recommend? Preferably bushy, about a foot high, but not too high. Right, baby. You've got some food and some dreamies, haven't you? A little baby. Bye for now. Yes, no buds on the trees. Not summer yet, is it? I was doing a bit of gardening yesterday, all my pots with all the dead twigs on. I turned them upside down because underneath is nice black rich soil. Whereas my mum half fills the dustbin. I said the bin man will refuse to take that away, it's so heavy. I said just do what I do. No, all the goodness has gone out of the soil. I said out of deck. Plants will grow in anything. Yeah, so sorry, I've not been uploading lately. I think I've had the bug. What are the symptoms? They're a yellow cartoon family off the telly. No, I've been coughing things up. Cold symptoms for 2 weeks, still coughing nasty things up. Feeling absolutely weary all the time, worse than normal. But thankfully, after tomorrow, I'm working tomorrow till 1. Yeah, I booked Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off. So along with the weekend, have a nice rest, and if the weather's like this I might go somewhere. If it isn't, I'll do a bit more gardening. Although is it a bit too early to get plants, and as I've said, I've not actually submitted my April meter reading yet. So am I going to be in for a big shock? Everyone else's has gone up. Mine's read on the 21st of every month, you see. And last month wasn't too bad. But it's meant to be astronomical, isn't it? We shall see. These sticky gears. It's been stuck in the backyard for ages. Maybe that's a contributory factor. You've been in an event on here. Burgers and bogs. It's like horses, doesn't it? Some kind of horse do. I've got 110 horses here. Hey. Not that use many of them at my slow riding pace. Yeah, so very sorry, no uploads. Where am I going today? Well, in this week's paper it said a development company, you know, building developments, that's what they call them. But basically they'll do properties up and sell them at a vast profit. And they bought the rights to alter an old pub from the 1700s. I've been there before. It's in Hurst Green on the way to Stone-yhurst College. It's actually a bit nondescript. It wasn't one of them beamed historical pubs. It was just from the mid 1700s, so coaching in from the days of George III or whatever. You know, highwayman period. Anyway, they've demolished it, and apparently it's a pile of rubble. There are pictures in the paper. And because it was grade 2 listed, they've been ordered to rebuild it brick by brick. That's what it said in the paper. It even made the sun. And I thought, well, I'll go and have a look. Maybe I should have a rummage in the rubble and see if there's any old coins. Now then, is this one, nothing behind, good, because when I check the signs, is fair screen this junction or the next one? Oh, this one. And only 2 miles away, and Longridge, good, so it is that road. What's the other road then? At the other junction, where does that lead to? Yeah, these closed down pubs on a right nasty bend. My mum says, well, mum and dad used to go on little outings in her little car on Sundays and visit various pubs, see which ones had the best meals. So, you know, this one with terrible punch bowl, right sharp bend, and the pub was there. We're terrified of pulling out in case a car whizzed round the corner. So maybe it didn't do very good business. The reason I mentioned Stone-yhurst, which this is part of the estate now, is that Annika Rice was educated at a Catholic college. She was there in the 60s and 70s. But another old boy is Arthur Conan Doyle, who wrote all the Sherlock Holmes stories. The only ring Catholic was one of those places that mistreated young girls, how to work with an Irish woman that were brought in a convent educated. So one of the favourite little torture routine was for the nuns to stick the finger right in your ear and twist it so the nails scratch your inside of your ear, which caused lots of pain. You know, they were terrible women, terrible sadists. Oh, where's the punch bowl? I think it's just after this village, rather than before. I was thinking of buying a bag of vegetables to feed the ducks. Bloody hell. What are these cars doing here? Is this a popular hiking village? Park your car up, go for a long hike in the hills. Might as well have a quick look and get a picture off my camera with the date on. Yeah, Annika Rice is quite chatty on Twitter, so I sent a picture of this place off the internet with little lambs grazing, and she didn't see anything. Nice old houses, them, aren't they? I'm looking for a date before and couldn't see one. $15.93. I've been here a few times before, even had a little walk around that spooky churchyard. Have they got the scaffolding down? It's spoilt the view of it before. Oh yeah, it's down good. Gates across so we can't go up. But there's two, I won't call them lakes exactly, two long stretches of water either side of this drive, and there's always lots of ducks and drakes looking hungry. What do they eat though? Someone said just get a bag of broccoli and cabbage and they'll love it. Oh, yeah, it's only cheap, isn't it? It's like when I bumped into those horses on a ride into the Trough of Bowland before. They all come over, expecting to be fed probably, and all I did was pat them. Oh, little kids are feeding the ducks. Oh, yeah, not magnificent. What's that flag, I wonder? Oh, pheasants. Not fried them away ever. Yeah, greedy seagulls pinching all the grub. Was there ever a fountain that operated? In the olden days, you used hills to power the water jet. Apparently, they'd make it narrower and narrower, so by the time you got to the lake, there'd be a powerful jet of water, so it was all propelled by gravity. You know, from a stream at the top of a hill. How ingenious. They look well fed, don't they? I wonder if they're being fed bread. They say you shouldn't feed them bread, just vegetables. Yeah, they're cooking bread. Can't see it doing them any harm. So Annika Rice was educated here. And she ended up jumping in and out of helicopters. There's a few old episodes on YouTube, so it shows you got cult status, being one of those 1980s things. Very spread out, madam. What are you doing? Mavis? Yeah, that bug splat then. Hope it's not on the lens. I was going to go up to this statue and see what it exactly is, but presumably it's going to be Mary, isn't it? Being a Catholic college. Or is it Jesus? As it's Easter, you see, I thought it'd be a suitable thing to do. Oh, it's Mary, of course. They're all toddling in the road, aren't they? What's the idea? And there's grass. If you toddle over, they could land on the grass. See if we can see a date. No, it's all in Latin, I think. I'm a mine of information, aren't you? I was going to read up online, but I thought, why bother? Come here yourself if you want to stroll. Yeah. They'll be serving lunches, of course, in the pub, but you think there'll be like, must be a cafe for all these visitors. Tea rooms. So they are, hair screen. Somebody said I live in a leafy area. I suppose it is. Well, this is just 8 miles from home. Off of them hills. Oh, there. Millie's hot and cold drinks, tea. And this is a Shire Arms. Another old pub. Nothing whizzing around that bend now up. No date stones. I like those carved date stones. They do the 60s very good, don't they, in olden times, like on the Omen films. Now then, the demolished pub. Where is it? If they get flooded, if that river ever turns into a raging torrent in winter storms. And the car behind, marvellous. Very subsidence. Or is it subsidence? Big bloody dip in the road. One drawback of these poorly maintained. Oh, is that it? Not very well maintained, these old roads, are they? So it's fenced off, so I can't look for any coin hoards. On that door in my house, as you come in, there's Pirates of the Caribbean, Johnny Depp, Captain Jack Sparrow, and some reproduction coins from the 1700s. See what I mean? Right on that bend. Was this a car park? No, it wasn't. Pub, car park at the back. All the old stonework, big sandstone blocks from the 1700s, and probably beams. I said to my mum, can you remember was the oldie worldy inside? I said, oh yeah, it were lovely. But we're being empty for a while. First thing that happens is the lead gets stolen by thieving arseholes, then watering breaths. Then the place is ruined, isn't it, once water gets in? That's what happened to a church in my town, my old church actually. Someone robbed all the lead and they couldn't afford to replace it right away. Water got in, ruined everything inside, and they said, well, we're going to have to demolish it. It wasn't an ancient one, they're only 100-year-old. But there was a spate of lead thefts, weren't there? Gangs from Eastern Europe who specialise in, oh yes, we go to England, we pinch their lead. Police are useless. And there were spate of thefts down in Lincolnshire. It said 300 churches got their lead robbed. And it's a patrol car one night saw a trailer being towed with the wheels almost flat, so we pulled them over. And it was this gang. They caught them just on the off chance, although of course he got a paltry bloody sentence because he couldn't prove they'd done all the others. So he just got a slap on the wrist. And yet millions of pounds worth of lead got swiped, 300 churches. Should clamp down on the dodgy scrap dealers, shouldn't they? You know, who were disposing of the stolen lead, they must have realised. Something bloody dodgy. Ribchester, Longridge and Preston. Oh, what a state. It's just roading. Hey, it seems better. I'm sure it were all grotty last time with loose chippings on. They tidied it up. Oh, here they are. Thank you. So I was telling Simon Entwistle about this and he didn't respond. Simon Entwistle is a local tour guide. I said, do you know about the written stone? Yeah, we were telling Simon Entwistle, the Clitheroe ghost walker, about the written stone, and he didn't respond. I said, it's very interesting, I've read about the story with Ralph and the witch's curse and his cattle dying. And he's on Twitter, and yet very few people talk to him, so I thought I'll tell him about this. And he hasn't said a word, so I thought I'll get a picture, although there are pictures online, but this puts the date and time on. And I'm going to say, I've just been to the written stone. Do you know the story? It's worth telling your walkers, because he goes round Clitheroe. His main duty is at Thornbury Hall. He's one of the tour guides at Thornbury Hall. He dresses in a top hat and a cape, but he does ghost walks, and he does a tour around Pendle, all about the Pendle witches in a minibus. But I think this is fascinating. If the story's true, do you know about it? When other superstitious farmers tried to tow it away and they could hardly move it with a team of horses, and he said old Ralph got one horse and took it back. So there's a witch connection, although it's a lot later. It's 1612, the Lancashire witch trial, so this is quite a bit later. There's no spooky activity around here. Personally, I don't believe it, but you never know. Lots of people make lots of money from all the superstitious people, don't they? But I've never seen anything. A few friends have. Were friends said, oh, I've seen a ghost dressed in... I said, yeah, it's always medieval. Why is it not a relatively recent one? He said, no, I wasn't drunk. He said, I saw him staring at me, then he just vaporised. I thought, well, do they see it, or do they want to see something? Okay. Yeah, I must live here. That chap said he found a 1562 sixpence in a crack. And I doubt very much whether this place hasn't been to 1,000 times before and searched thoroughly. I mean, this is all new stuff, isn't it? And it's been rebuilt, this wall, because it was a lot lower before. So, can you read that? Is it Ralph or Rafe or Rolf? Rolf Radcliffe laid this stone to lie, L-Y-E, forever. AD 1655. So yeah, there's a spooky story attached, which I've told before. Well, I mentioned it's that chap. A bloke, a farmer's cattle were dying, so he saw this old hag, reputed to be a soothsayer or a stroke witch. Carve a big stone and leave it, and it'll bring good luck to your farm. So he had that made, and all his cattle were thriving and his crops, but other farmers, they started getting ill cattle and poor crops. So late one night they got a team of horses to tow that away. You can imagine how heavy it is. Look at the 2 foot deep by about a foot by about 8 feet, and they could hardly budge it. They only got it a few yards away before old Ralph came out. "Oh, what are you doing? Leave my stone alone!" And he got one horse and towed it back to the spot quite easily. In other words, it was a chimed stone. So there you go, a bit of history. 1655. What was going on? In London, fire of London was 1666, wasn't it? So I can imagine what sort of people would be in the area at the time, superstitious. And like I said, it's 43 years after the Lancashire witch trials. That was scandalous, wasn't it? Other countries are making grand master paintings and sculptures. We're hanging old bats up, batty old bats, just because it was their niece. The niece gave evidence against them, and their own auntie got hung on the word of her niece. It said the judge was charmed by this young girl who told them all these fantasy tales about people collapsing and stuff after being put under the spell. So they all got strung up. There were about a dozen of them. I think 2 were led off and 1 died in custody. It said they had to be they were forced to march over the hills to Lancaster from here, about 30 miles, so you can imagine it not being a very pleasant journey. What's down there? Don't fancy going to Longreach. I'll have to find out. Is this that Ribchester lane? I know we went past that a while back, didn't we? Not normally keen on these lanes, but if it gets me back to civilization. Oh, that leads back to the main road. Let's have a look down here. See more bloody roadworks. Lovely lane. There was some video on Facebook of a girl stuck at a red light like this, with no obvious roadworks going on, and she was chucking everything to the side of the road. I thought, good on her. We should all do that, shouldn't we? If it's causing a disturbance to the flow of the traffic. Oh, there is a hole there. Well, if there's no hole, then we should chuck everything to the side of the road until work actually starts. I'll have a chance to apply the front brake now. If there is anything on the pads, really I should take the pads off and do the normal spring oil and filter change and examine the pads, etc. I'm actually thinking of not bothering doing the oil and filter because I've hardly used this bike over winter. It's just been sat there in the yard, so does it need new oil? Oil and filter, 40 or 50 pounds. What building's that, I wonder? Nice old place. We are the Village Green Preservation Society. Wally, 4.5 miles. Millhouse nurseries, trade only. Hedging trees and shrubs. Yeah, there are lots of bikes out today. Hello, Albert. Yep, all the bubs and boys doing a roaring trade. Am I the only one working tomorrow? Up at bloody 4:10 in the morning. Marvellous, isn't it? Oh, Clitheroe Foot Clinic. I wonder if that's private, for private feet. You can have a look at my aching feet and give me some advice. Oh well, so much for Clitheroe. Now then, how to pick a plot. Looks like still a bit of building work going on. Pendle View. Holiday Park. There's a Pendle Hill. Oh, is that rust? Imagine not checking a bloody chain. What's a burk? When it's cooled down, I'll give it a thorough clean. So last time I was here, a chap said that stately home affair there is a private residence. Look at the size of it. So the lodges are up there. 35-foot caravans plumbed in to the mains. But if not going to do it with that lake, you know, the expansive water might look alright, but what they're going to do with it? Nothing. They haven't adopted my idea of the rowing boats and motorboats. It'd be nice to own one though, wouldn't it? Just some way to get away from it all. Ownership. From 100 grand, bloody hell. Limited plots remaining. Luke kitted up. Our motorbike rally's still on. No interest in going on them anymore. Sat outside your tent with a big crate of beer, lugging it. Rip off prices on the stalls that are at the event. Traditional ride out on the Saturday, or a bike show back on the camp. And dodgy bogs. Imagine stopping there, must be an emergency.